Alright, y'all, I got another one for you. Today we're going to be reacting to Anton Daniels going into full detail of why Deion Sanders is getting so much heat for leaving Jaskson State and going to Colorado University. Now, this has been in the news for, the last few days. It's been really hot right now because Mr. Deion Sanders, been called a sellout and self-hater and all this other nonsense from black people all over the internet just because he went where the money was. But Anton's going to go into full detail of what's really going on. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here. I do appreciate all the support. Let's keep this going. Help me reach my goal of 500 subs. Let's keep this going, everybody. Because the more y'all subscribe, the more y'all like, the more y'all comment, it motivates me more to put out more content for y'all. Let's keep this movement going. This is fair use. Shout out to Anton Daniels. I will leave a link to this video down in the description.
What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. I've been monitoring the Deion Sanders comments, both on Twitter, Instagram, and on videos on YouTube to see what the sentiment is of the people when it comes to their opinion on Deion Sanders, right? And him leaving Jaskson State, the HBCU, as the head of the football program, and then joining Colorado, right? Now, let me give you a little bit of details for those of you that have been living under a rock. So he is a winning coach at Jaskson State, again, which is an HBCU. That is an important detail. And he makes about $300,000 a year now. Somebody told me yesterday in my comments when I was doing a breakdown of it that he donates half of his salary, and I'm not sure where he donates it to, but he donates half of his salary, right? The other part of the story is that he's transitioned from making $300,000 a year to the equivalent of $5 to $6 million a year with a guaranteed, partially guaranteed, depending on if he was to leave or not, then he would have to pay a penalty as a result of it. But a partially guaranteed contract of roughly $30 million. Wow. Now, there's a crowd.
He's going to make $30 million over the course of the split into several years going to Colorado University. That's a pretty big step from $300,000 a year.
Crabs in a barrel mentality, and it always will be, specifically among black people. And I don't see this, right? And I talked to people yesterday specifically. Like I tapped into my friends from all different cultures, Indian, Asian, white people, a bunch of different cultures. And I wanted to get the sentiment before I did this video. And that does not happen amongst other cultures. When you level up, when you win, when you become more successful, when you make more money, it is celebrated, it's congratulated, it's championed, it's people that then not only champion it, but then they want to push you even harder because they understand that your success is their success and there's no shortage of success, and that you becoming successful doesn't affect them or hurt them at all. Actually, it could possibly help them, right? It creates a narrative.
And he's absolutely right. Like, I've never, look, my 30 years on this planet, I've never seen this happen with other groups of people, from whites, Latinos, Asians, Middle Easterns, East Indians. I've never seen this. It is so crazy how he's good, that Deion Sanders was good when he stayed with the HBCUs, making peanuts compared to what Colorado University wants to pay him. And it's like, okay, he's going over to greener pastures, and it's not like Jackson. I don't look. Correct me if I'm wrong. It has like a lot of like money problems been going on at Jaskson State. From what I've heard, they've been having money problems for like years from people doing some shady activities behind the scenes. For those of you who attend the school or have attended the school or live around that area, please let me know in the comments down below what the deal is with that, so I can have some clarity. I really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
It breaks a barrier. Also, on top of that, when you attach yourself to certain people like that are successful, you ultimately become promoted as well, right? And so what I see happening here is an age-old story within the black community and black culture, right? Which is one of the reasons why I say the things that we celebrate the most is trash, or the things that outrage us or you know, pushes us the most is trash. Now, everybody was cool with Coach Prime as long as he was doing what they wanted to do, as long as he lived in their box. His options were limited, and nobody can understand or even looking to understand his vision for his own life, his own family. And nobody even asked him or was inquiring about whether or not, you know, what it was that he was doing, you know, what his interests were. The only thing that they cared about is having him live in his box. And it's happening with every single person that I've ever known.
And that is a shame right there, because you can't get mad at Deion for doing what's best for him and his family, because he doesn't just have himself to look out for. But I mean, if it was just him, I mean, I'm sure the $300,000 a year they were paying him, he'd probably be like, yeah, that's cool, I don't care. But, you know, I don't know what his financial situation is ever since he's been out the NFL. So maybe that huge pay increase, you know, that huge pay increase call was off. He's like, okay, look, they're paying me this to go over here and help them out. unless Jaskson State could top that. I mean, everybody's looking. It's like job hunting. Like when I was working a 9 to 5, like I would always be out looking for another job that paid more, because I mean, whoever had the bigger, better deal, that's what I went with. I don't see anything wrong with that.
To be successful, every single person that I've ever known to be successful, the minute that you become more successful, unless you're a ball player of some sort, football, basketball, or you're an entertainer, such as a rapper. The minute that you become more successful, and even in those situations and circumstances, if you transition over from being an entertainer or a court jester, right? And then you become more articulate and you open up certain businesses and you become successful, or you align yourself with certain brands and all that other type of stuff, then you are a quote unquote sellout. What is a sellout? I'm just curious. What is a sellout? Is a sellout a person that becomes more successful? Because a lot of people will tell you that a sellout is a person that then walks away from their own community in order to continue to champion and get a bag. How was that being a sellout to go and get more money for my family or for the people that I love and celebrate the most, and to be able to contribute and add value as far as dollars into what it is that we doing as a community?
Facts. Like, I could not have said that better myself. Like, the fact that so many black people think this way is what's hindering a lot of the growth as people. It's like, wouldn't you want to see other black people like yourself to make it? And isn't that? It's like they don't find it motivating. They find it discouraging, and it's the most backwards thing on the planet, if you ask me.
Versus continuing to stay in the same old that is not adding any value to anybody. How is that a sellout? You know who the real sellouts, in my opinion, are? It's the dope dealers and the drug dealers that we champion so much, that then poison our community, and they come up on the backs of poor people, right? And then what they do is they allocate monies to be able to contribute to the penal system and to all of these lawyers that's not even black.
No one wants to have that conversation.
And then they go to jail when they come back, and they give turkeys to the community as a thank you gift for coming up on the addiction of the people that they care for the most. These people will sell coke and dope and meth and fentanyl to their own mothers if it comes with profitability.
I swear to God.
It's how you do it. Why aren't we championing Deion Sanders for leveling up? The biggest conversation that happens in football as far as black people is people like Stephen A. Smith and Jalen Rose and all of these people championing the idea that there needs to be more black coaches that are being promoted and elevated. And so when one starts to do it, but he did it the right way, he came up through the ranks of actually, you know, helping and pushing and promoting and all of the growth that's happened over at Jaskson State as a result of Deion Sanders. That football program in general is much more visible, because, in my opinion, wasn't nobody checking for Jaskson State as far as I was concerned, because, you know, it's probably people that were checking for Jaskson State that was in that sphere, but definitely not on a national level and all of that other type of stuff. It certainly was not on my radar. I wasn't checking for Jaskson State. Now I am. You know, the sellouts is the people that say that, oh, these HBCUs and all of these programs are so awesome in these places, and there's more black people that are successful that come from HBCUs than any other institution, and why don't they have an endowment? Why aren't they successful? How come they're not giving back to their communities in the form of donating to the school? How come there aren't wings that are being built as a result of alumni that are super successful that then come back and then give back to the community or give back to the program? How come all of these other institutions have such a large alumni that is dedicated and rabid fans, but then at the same time, you sit over here and you look at these HBCUs and you don't even love or support your own, but then you finally have somebody to come in, transform the program. But no, he got to be stepdaddy to your kids because, man, come on, man, get on out of here with that. We need.
Thank you, Anton. Thank you so much for saying this, because it's as clear as day. Most black people want something for nothing. I see it here on YouTube all the time. Like you got black content creators who make fire content on live streams, and then they barely get donations because most of their audience is black folks. The ones that do make money have a mixed audience. And shout out to the Angry Man, because he's been pointing that out for a long time. He's a prime example of that. Anyways, yeah, it's like they wanted Mr. Deion Sanders to stay in Jaskson State just for that small pay to deal with the whatever nonsense is going on down there. And I've never been to Jackson, Mississippi, but from what I've heard, it's not a place you want to go to twice. And most people, I don't really think about Jackson State University. I live in Memphis. I'm all about the Memphis Tigers here, and they get national attention, you know? So I don't blame Deion Sanders one bit for taking a much bigger pay for the same job, and for students who probably would appreciate it a lot more. And plus, the Colorado Buffaloes, as far as I'm concerned, I remember I used to live out there. Football team wasn't really, as far as I know, they weren't really talked about on a national scale, unless and of course, if you're in Colorado, they're talked about. Outside, I don't really hear people talk about the Colorado Buffaloes. But now, with Deion Sanders as their head coach, for them, the future is going to look great, if you ask me. So I have no issue with Deion Sanders taking the $30 million. He's doing what's best for him. And if I was in his shoes, I would do the exact same thing. With that being said, I really do appreciate it if you made it this far. Please consider giving this video a like, subscribe if you're new. Help me reach my goal of 500 subs. The more you subscribe, the more you comment, the more you like, the more it motivates me to make content for you, the viewer. So let's keep this train going, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.